Shloke. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 8, the character of Bharat Maharaj, Shloka number 29. Aho kashtam prashtoham atmavatam anupatag yad vimukta samasta sangasya vivikta punyaranya sharanashyatmavata atmani sarvesham atma Bhagavati Vasudeve Tad Anushravana Manana Sankirtanadana Nusmarana Biyogena Smarana Biyogena Shunya Sakala Yamena Kalena Samaveshitam Samahitam Kachnyena Manas Tattu Punar Mama Buddhasyaran Mrgasutam Anu Parisushrava. Okay. Word to word meaning. Aho kashtam. Alas, what a miserable condition of life. Brishtaha. Fallen. Aham. I. Atmavatam. Of great devotees who have achieved perfection. Anupatha. From the way of life. Yat. From which Vimukta Samasta Hangasya, all the being given in the association of my real sons and home. Vivikta, solitary. Punya Aranya, of a sacred forest. Sharanasya, who had taken shelter. Atmavataha, of one who has become perfectly situated on the transcendental. Atmani, in the super soul. Sarvesham, of all. Atmanam, living entities. Bhagavati, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vasudeve, Lord Vasudeva. Tat, of him. Anushravana, constant hearing. Manana, thinking. Kirtana, chanting. Aradhana, worshipping. Anusmarana, constantly remembering. Abhiyogena, by absorption in. Ashunya, filled. Sakala Yamena, in which all the hours. Kalena, by time. Samaveshitam, fully established. Samahitam, fixed. Kachnyena, totally. Manaha, the mind in such a situation. Tat, that mind. Tu, but. Punaha, again. Mama, of me. Abuddhasya, a great fool. Arat, from a great distance. Mrgasutam, the son of a deer. Anu, being affected by. Parisusrava, fell down. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. In the body of a deer, Bharat Maharaj began to lament, what misfortune, I have fallen from the path of self-realized. I have given up my real sons, wife and home to advance in spiritual life, and I took shelter in a solitary holy place in the forest. I became self-controlled and self-realized, and I engaged constantly in devotional service, hearing, thinking, chanting, worshipping and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. I was successful in my attempt, so much so that my mind was always absorbed in devotional service. However, due to my personal foolishness, my mind again became attached to, this time to a deer. Now I have obtained the body of a deer and have fallen from my devotional practices. Purport. Due to stringent execution of devotional service, Maharaj Bharata could remember the activities of his past life and how he was raised to spiritual platform. Due to his foolishness, he became attached to an insignificant deer and thus fell down and had to accept the body of a deer. This is significant for every devotee. If we misuse our position and think that we are fully engaged in devotional service and can do whatever we like, we are we are we have to suffer like Bharat Maharaj and be condemned to accept the type of body that impairs our devotional service. Only the human form is able to execute devotional service, but if we voluntarily give this up for sense gratification, we certainly have to be punished. This punishment is not exactly like that endured by an ordinary materialistic person. By the grace of the Supreme Lord, a devotee is punished in such a way that his eagerness to attain the lotus feet of Lord Vasudeva is increased. By his intense desire, he returns home in the next lifetime. Devotional service is very completely described here. Tad anushravana manana sankirtana aradhana nusmarana biyogena. By constant hearing and chanting of the glories of Lord is recommended. The constant hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord is recommended in Bhagavad Gita. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha. Those who have taken to Krishna consciousness should be very careful not a single moment is wasted and that not a single moment is spent without chanting and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his activities. By his own actions and by the actions of his devotees, Krishna teaches us how to become cautious in devotional service. Therefore, through the medium of Bharat Maharaj, Krishna teaches us that we must be careful in the discharge of devotional service. If we want to keep our minds completely fixed without deviation, we must engage them in devotional service full time. As far as the members of International Society for Krishna Consciousness are concerned, they have sacrificed everything to push on this Krishna consciousness movement. Yet they must take a lesson from the life of Bharat Maharaj to be very cautious and to see that not a single moment is wasted in frivolous talk, sleep, or voracious eating. Eating is not prohibited, but if we eat voraciously, we shall certainly sleep more than required. Sense gratification ensues, and we may be degraded to a lower life form. In that way, our spiritual progress may be checked at least for the time being. The best course is to take the advice of Srila Rupa Goswami, Avyartha Kalatvam. We should see that every moment of our life is utilized for service and nothing else. That is the secure position for one wanting to return home back to Godhead. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuddha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Yo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna. So this is a nice shloka in this section where Bharat Maharaj in the body of a deer is able to remember his past life, and he's actually very much lamenting for his current condition. He is able to see that where I was and where I have fallen. It is very, very bad. And I gave up, he's thinking that I gave up my home, wife, sons and things like that, to advance in spiritual life. And I went to a solitary place. It's a very holy place in a forest. And in the past, as it is mentioned, so wherever there is a footprint of a black deer, that forest is considered to be Yasmin Deshe Miha Krishnas Tasmin Dharman Ivodatha. So like the tract of land wherein the footprint of a black deer can be seen is to be understood as a suitable place to execute religious rituals. So he had gone to a very nice place, and then I became self-controlled, self-realized and engaged constantly in devotional service, that is hearing, thinking, chanting, worshipping and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. And it's a nice thing. I was successful in my attempt, so much so that my mind was always absorbed in devotional service. That's like a really amazing thing actually. And however, due to my personal foolishness, my mind again became attached, this time to a deer. Now I have obtained the body of a deer and have fallen far from my devotional practices. So here, Srila Prabhupada actually mentions that this is due to his stringent execution of devotional service, Maharaj Bharata could remember the activities of his past life and how he was raised to the spiritual platform. So here, Prabhupada covers a lot of this one on this particular aspect. A sincere devotee, when he performs a mistake, he is punished but a brief period of time. Also, he gets a facility, either by remembering, so in other places it is mentioned, either by remembering the past life or by some kind of an external influence. So he will again get into very, very serious devotion. So that is there. So he may get into some kind of path, but then Krishna always reminds him that you were a serious devotee. And also like the state that has been earned, or the position that has been earned in the progress of devotional service, that will never go waste. Definitely that will come to the rescue. And swalpamapi asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat, right? And then this position that we have earned, that will never go in vain. So definitely that Krishna will put us back in the same position, and we'll start from there. So due to his foolishness, he became attached to an insignificant deer and thus fell down and had to accept the body of a deer. This is significant for every devotee. If we misuse our position and think that we are fully engaged in devotional service and do whatever we like, we have to suffer like Bharat Maharaj and be condemned to accept the type of a body that impairs our devotional service. So here, this is one point is very nice. If we think that we are fully engaged in devotional service and can do whatever we like, so by studying the stages of bhakti, so we will be able to understand that so much more is there to be done. So much more is there to be done. Like what devotional service that we are doing is not at all very great. So much more it is to be done. And one important thing, even though we have remembrance of the Lord, so if we are not able to have the qualities of humility and quality of humility, so then we can understand something very basic we have gone wrong. So we will not be able to sustain any of the devotional credits that actually comes. So the remembrance of the Lord is the essential advancement in Krishna consciousness, but then this advancement is sustained by the quality of humility. So without that, it is very, very difficult to sustain that particular this one. So that is why it is very important. There are certain things that we need to concentrate a lot in the beginning stages of devotional service, and then later on, if other things are added to it, it will not have any problem. So, but if the beginning stages, if we miss out on these essential aspects, so then in the later stages, so many other decorative aspects will start coming in. So, but then we will not be able to sustain that. So, one of the most important aspect that needs to be focused upon is the aspect of self-criticism and aspect of humility. That's very, very essential. So, like we see in the Sikshashtakam also, that in the second stanza it is mentioned, ihajani nuraga. So, durdaiva ihajani nuraga. So, it's like criticizing oneself that I'm not, the Krishna is so great that he is available, his names are so powerful. So, but then, no, I am not so much interested in chanting his names. So, and that's, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says it is due to offenses. And then the immediate next shloka, we are able to see that, like this amani namanadena, so that is there. So, this is a very, very essential aspect. So, without that, nothing can actually sustain. So, no devotional practice or no devotional assets we will be able to sustain. So, it's very essential to focus upon these points very much. So, then a devotee will, and two things can happen when devotional assets manifest. So, one is that he may still feel that I'm so much more non-Krishna conscious. Though I'm able to remember Krishna, so but still so much more non-Krishna conscious. Like so many different times, like I'm not remembering Krishna. So that kind of feeling can come. And another feeling that can come is of the feeling of the Sudama that we often discuss, that Kwaham Daridra Papi and Kwa Krishna Sriniketana. So like the feeling of, I'm not at all qualified, but still Krishna is so merciful that he has given me the remembrance, right? So these qualities are, when these kind of thoughts are coming, so then the devotee is in safe position. So but if he thinks that, oh, I could able to remember Krishna, so that is very nice, and he becomes proud about it, so then it is not very safe position, in that way. So the humility is always, the what is that, in Bhagavad Gita also it's mentioned, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, right? So like this is, can anybody take that shloka? Vidya Vinaya. No, I don't want the rest of the shloka. That Vinaya is very important. There it is, 580, no? So, like Vidya, with education, Vinaya, and gentleness, Sampanne, fully equipped. The humble sage by virtue of true knowledge, we can see that. It's very, very important. So, whenever there is knowledge that is there, it is immediately, coupled with humility. So, knowledge and pride, it cannot go together. So, pride means it is illusion, pride means it is ignorant, and humility means it is knowledge. So this is even in the the processes of knowledge, the process by which we can attain knowledge, or the culture of knowledge can be brought about. So that in that also Krishna mentions amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shantirarjavam. So in that we can see that. So this is very, very essential aspect. So then a devotee can actually very safely progress. So but otherwise, this can happen. Very easily this can happen. That where is that? So if our position and that we are fully engaged in devotional service and can do whatever we like, we have to suffer like Bharat Maharaj and be condemned to accept the type of body that impairs our devotional service, right? So only the human form is able to execute devotional service, but if we voluntarily give this up for sense gratification, we certainly have to be punished. This punishment is not exactly like that endured by an ordinary materialistic person. By the grace of the Supreme Lord, a devotee is punished in such a way that his eagerness to attain the lotus feet of the Lord, of Lord Vasudev, is increased. So by this, by his intense desire, he returns home in the next lifetime. So here we see that when a devotee, when he commits a mistake, so Krishna actually pushes him in such a way that he punishes him in such a way that his intensity in devotional service is increased. No, that's the nature of the Lord. So the punishment and the reward of the Lord is nice, because so in both the ways, like we are going to become more intense in our devotional service. So if we rightly practice, so we will get intensity in devotional service. If we wrongly practice, also, Krishna will make in such a way that we will become intense in our devotional service. But only one thing that is needed is sincerity of purpose. If we are sincere in the process of devotional service, so whether right or wrong, Krishna will put us in the path. We don't need to be so much. We have to be worried about being doing the devotional service in the right way. So, but we don't need to be too much worried also. What if I do something wrong? Nothing great. Like Krishna, do maar ke raaste pe leke aa jayenge. So it is very nice. So even if we go off track, so it is like our protector is there, our Lord is there. So he will bring us on the path, right? So, but then a devotee thinks that if he can do in a right way, so that is even more good. And by his intense desire, he returns home in the next lifetime. And the Srila Prabhupada is defining the devotional service in the next line. So that is taken from the shloka itself. Devotional service is very completely described here. That is the anushravana. So in the word-to-word meaning we read, that anushravana means like constantly hearing, manana is thinking, sankirtana is like this chanting, and aradhana and anusmarana. Manana is one thing is there, and anusmarana is another thing. Manana is thinking, and anusmarana is constantly remembering. And abhiyogena, absorption in, and ashunya is filled. So like filled means like constantly, he is constantly engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. So that's how Bharat Maharaj was engaged, and that is mentioned as the definition of devotional service. And the core aspect of devotional service is the Navavida Bhakti, the Shravanam, Kirtanam, and the elements of the Navavida Bhakti. And then all other aspects that we actually do is the supporting activities of this particular core activity, right? So now I often give this example that we have a gift shop, which is the nature of the activity that happens is like sales, So, but then this sales doesn't attract tax, Why it doesn't attract tax? Because it is an incidental activity for a charitable purpose, A charitable purpose is being carried on, and there is an incidental activity of business that happens. So whatever profits that come, so that also is exempted from the tax, because it is the core activity is based on charity. So in the same way, like if Shravanam Kirtanam is the core activity, and we do management to facilitate the Shravanam Kirtanam, and we do all other activities, Prasadam cooking is happening for facilitating the Shravanam Kirtanam, and every activity that is happening is for facilitating this one. So then everything is to be considered as devotional service, right? So in that way, the core activity should not be missed, and that's the thing which gives life, right? So if the Shravanam Kirtanam is missing, so then the whole life of the whole machinery gets lost. So then whatever we do, everything is taken into a mundane activity actually. So this is the core activity. So then Srila Prabhupada is mentioning the constant hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord is recommended in Bhagavad Gita also. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya durravataha. So those who have taken to Krishna consciousness should be very careful. Not a single moment is wasted, and that not a single moment is spent without chanting and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His activities. So in this connection, always we should remember this very simple example that Srila Prabhupada gives, that keeping the iron rod in the fire, and it acquires the qualities of the fire. So for it to acquire the qualities of the fire, so it has to be kept in the fire constantly. That's an essential aspect. So if it is for some time it is kept in the fire and taken out, and the moment we take out, it has its impact, the qualities actually reduces. So if we have to go back to the spiritual world, so then if we want to be associated with Krishna, so then we have to be also as pure as Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada mentions only a person who's like fire can enter into fire, so otherwise he'll get burnt. So in the same way, we cannot approach the pure, being impure. So if we want to be completely pure, so then we need to also associate with the pure constantly, no? So Krishna's association, so it is where Krishna is very merciful that he gives his association by the form of the Navavidha Bhakti, no? So in that way we can actually be in touch with Krishna. And how constantly we are, in touch with Krishna, so that actually makes a lot of difference. So like initially, like we are all practicing devotees. We are trying to practice for some time, we are chanting, sometime we are attending Aarti, and sometime we are doing some devotional service. But gradually, according to the acharyas, it is gradually we have to increase, our connection with, devotional service, and it should come to a point that we are constantly, all the time, we are associated with Krishna, through the Navavidha Bhakti, and that is, that is what is expected. At least, if not immediately, just before the end of the life, a devotee should have this goal that I need to spend some time at least, fully absorbed in the devotional service, right? So that is very, very essential. So without that, nobody can actually think of going back to the spiritual world. So because anytime, we have some gap, that means we are having association of something which is not in connection with Krishna, or something which is in a very light connection with Krishna, and that cannot ensure our purity. And if it cannot ensure our purity, then we are not going to enter into the pure realm. That is not possible. So like Bhaktivinoda Thakur's formula is that, so slowly, gradually, like we have to keep increasing our devotional service step by step, and it should happen that before we quit the life, quit this body, so we should be constantly engaged in devotional service, right? So through the medium of Bharat Maharaj, Krishna teaches us that we must be careful in discharge of devotional service. If we want to keep our minds completely fixed without deviation, we must engage them in devotional service full time. As far as the members of International Society for Krishna Consciousness are concerned, they have sacrificed everything to push on this Krishna consciousness movement. Yet they may take a lesson from the life of Bharat Maharaj to be very cautious to see that not a single moment is wasted in frivolous talk, sleep, and voracious eating. So here we see that, like, Srila Prabhupada is very proud of his, or very confident of his system. So like he had engaged all the devotees at that point in time, so in complete devotional service. Anybody who is devotee means like one who lives in temple, during Prabhupada time. So that is called devotee. So and then who's throughout the day going out in Sankirtan and like doing all devotional service. So that means like he's preparing himself. Rest of the people are preparing to become like that. So preparing to become like that, and it is. And then Prabhupada is telling that, so there is no chance of them engaged in any other activities. They are fully engaged in Krishna conscious activities. And then, so Prabhupada is giving a caution, even though it is the case, but still the devotees should be very cautious. Even when we are there in a renounced ashram, so where like only purpose is to execute devotional service, so there is every opportunity for a frivolous talk or a sleep or voracious eating. And any activity of this materialism comes inside, and that has the potential, just like one small virus is sufficient to come inside, and it has the potential to bring down the whole body, right? So in the same way, one small gap is sufficient for the Maya to enter inside and can actually pull us down, in the process. So the like most dangerous thing is the association with Maya, and the most benedictory thing is that association with Krishna. And association with Krishna is in the form of Navavidha Bhakti, and as much as possible, we should fully cover our time with this. So either the direct process of Navavidha Bhakti or the missionary activities which is meant to promote the Navavidha Bhakti, right? So that must be there fully. And Srila Prabhupada is telling like some concession is giving. Eating is not prohibited, but if we eat voraciously, then we shall certainly sleep more than required. Sense gratification ensures, and we may be degraded to a lower life form, right? So this is very important that there is like everything has its place, like yukta hara viharasya yukta chetasa karmasu. So like everything must be like done according to its this one. So like nothing should be done because my senses are actually demanding. So there is no question of gratifying the senses. It is only like no question of it is gratifying the senses only to the extent how much the dharma allows. No, that is what we are supposed to do. So we are not supposed to get into adharmic side. So we are supposed to do like how much ever the dharma allows, so that much we should gratify our senses. So there is no question of satisfying the senses in a way the senses actually demands. No, that is not this one. So in a way that dharma demands, no, that much only we will do. Right? So sense gratification ensures, and we may be degraded to lower life form. In that way, our spiritual progress may be checked at least for the time being. The best course is to take the advice of Srila Rupa Goswami, Avyartha Kalatvam. So here we see that Avyartha Kalatvam, so it is actually recommended in the stage of Bhava. So but then Srila Prabhupada mentions that if we want to attain some goal, so we need to also practice. We need to also aim towards it. So if we think that only in the Bhava stage Avyartha Kalatvam, so like abhi kya tension hai. So it is so like now we can thoda bahut vyarth kar sakte hain. And no, that is not the case. So like we need to have a target, no. So then only we'll be able to reach towards that. So we need to have that this one, that any time if we are wasting the time, so then we should be worried, like how I could have used this time in Krishna's service. No, how did I waste this time? So why did I waste this time? So in that way, like that will actually give us good impetus to go towards Krishna very fast. And we should see that every moment of our life is utilized for rendering devotional service and nothing else. This is the secure position for one wanting to return home back to Godhead. So those who are not joining Brahmacharya Ashram, don't be discouraged. So you have this one that anyway you are planning for your retirement very soon. So in that way, like you are also safe. So but there is no alternative for this. We have to render devotional service and nothing else throughout the day. So there is no alternative for this. So either we start the practice now, or we enter into married life with an agreement of I will quit at a certain this one, like I'll quit at another maybe what age you enter into married life, that also matters. So if we enter very late and then we say like 25 years, it becomes too much. So like we should enter, those who want to enter, they should enter quickly and exit quickly. So if you are planning to enter late, then better not enter. So then the whole point is missed. Not till the end of the life, like we will be like doing matchmaking for the children. So then when we will be able to engage completely in the service of the Lord, right? So it is not hard and fast rule that immediately we should engage, but then at least when the body is like hale and healthy, we should have some time to fully engage in the devotional service. It is just that like it is the iron rod kept in the fire, so it acquires the properties of the fire. So but it should be kept for some time, right? So sometime undisturbed it should be kept. So now or later, but it has to be done, right? So like when the age is there, when little bit health is there, so there is some way like we can actually consciously engage in devotional service. But when the health fails, in the old age, even if we want, it is quite very difficult. It is very, very difficult to engage in devotional service. So many other internal disturbances are there. So before the internal disturbances starts, so one must be a seasoned devotee. So then he'll be like able to tolerate the internal disturbances. Still he'll be able to render nice devotional service. He'll be constantly absorbed in now the bhakti. So but then if we are starting the practice at that point in time, so like continuous practice at that point in time, it's quite difficult not to actually sustain that practice, because a lot of internal disturbances is going to be there. So when the body is healthy, so that time itself, we should give at least 10, 15 or 20 years. So or 15 or 20 years, 10 is like very less. 15 or 20 years, like we should be able to do. So if a person actually retires at the age of 50, so he can actually solidly give, so at least 10 years goes in some kind of practice, and when then bodily disturbances come, by then like he has actually got into some serious practice. So then it becomes very easy for him to sustain. Otherwise it's quite difficult. So somehow or other, like we should plan. This is like planning the investment. So in the same way, like we should plan this, this very essential aspect. So all other things, except for this continuous, uninterrupted, constant devotion for like this 15-20 years, like what we are talking about. So like that is the actual real match that is going to happen. So baki like thoda there devotional service practice karke, like then we go for office and come back and things like that. This is all net practice. So net practice करते रहेंगे, but then match में भी घुसना चाहिए कभी ना कभी. नहीं तो we will be only like स्ट्रीट में लाइक खेलते हैं ना वैसे खेलते रहेंगे, कभी मैच में अपियर नहीं हुआ है ना. सो देन नेक्स्ट लाइफ वी हैव टू अपियर इन द मैच. Match has to be played. So otherwise net practice only will keep happening, and sometimes we will think that मैं net practice करते रहा हूँ कर रहा हूँ बट कभी लाइक मुझे जीत नहीं मिला, ट्रॉफी नहीं मिला. एंड देन नेट प्रैक्टिस भी छोड़ देंगे फिर लास्ट में. सो दैट इज मोर डेंजरस एक्चुअली. सो दिस इज वेरी वेरी क्लियर इन द आचार्य's वर्क्स. No, it is full-time devotional service is essential. No or later. No, that is something that we can negotiate about. So, but then full-time devotional service is non-negotiable. No, that must be there actually. And then I was just two very amazing points. One is from the 9th shloka and another is from the 10th shloka. So I will just mention them and I'll finish the talk. So here it is mentioned. Okay, it's been some time I've read this thing, so okay, I'm not able to find the point. I'll just read the purport. From this we can understand how we have to be very cautious in executing our spiritual duties by observing rules and regulations and regularly chanting Hare Krishna mantra. If we neglect doing this, we will eventually fall down. We must rise early in the morning, bathe, attend Mangalarti, worship the deities, chant Hare Krishna mantra, study Vedic literatures and follow all the rules prescribed by the acharyas and the spiritual master. If we deviate from this process, we may fall down, even though we may be very highly advanced, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. The acts of sacrifice, charity, penance should not be given up and things like that. Even if one is in renounce order, he should never give up the regulative principles. He should worship the deity and give his time and life to service of Krishna. He should also continue following the rules and regulations of austerity and penance. These things cannot be given up. One should not think oneself very advanced simply because one has accepted sannyas order. The activities of Bharat Maharaj should be carefully studied for one's spiritual advancement. Is this the thing? Like one very important point I was just looking at. Yes, maybe it is in the previous chapter or something like that. Okay, in the 10th shloka it is there. So as far as the material body is concerned, we cannot do anything for anyone. So just Bharat Maharaj was trying to help the deer. However, by grace of Krishna, we may raise a person to spiritual consciousness if we ourselves follow the rules and regulations. So there is grace of Krishna is there in the preaching activities, like when we are trying to distribute the mercy of Krishna to others. So it is very essential that we also follow the rules and regulations. And rules and regulations means what? What is considered to be rules and regulations in this connection? Huh? No Vida Bhakti. No, that is, if we sufficiently engage in the Krishna consciousness, and then by the grace of Krishna, we will be able to distribute it to others, right? So if we ourselves don't engage in them, so then we will not be able to give this one to others. So the part of preaching activity is our solid morning sadhana, right? So if we don't do morning sadhana nicely, so then 50% of the preaching is sixer mein chala gaya tabhi. So then after that, if we go out, so then only people will see that बेचारा ये बहुत परेशान है, so like माला करके बहुत परेशान हो गया, like better you do some sense gratification, we'll get preached, in that way, right? So first we should taste the bliss of Krishna consciousness. That is when we'll be in a position to give this Krishna consciousness to others. So I'll pause here. Any questions or comments we can take. Hare Krishna. So we have to finish on time because the other team, 9:30, they have told This time Bhakti Shastri is not there. No, will you finish early? We told no, 9:30 only we'll finish. So this is little fast. No, we are at 9:12. So we have good 17, 18 minutes is there for discussion. Yes, Po. Yes, Po. What is the age to renounce married life? So when you have some good health. At least 10 years of good health remaining with you. Because we have to be to the business, no? To like execute intense devotional service, no full time. So we need to have some good health also. Right?
But it is also said sthane sthita. Wherever you are, you continue.
So that means nobody should get married. Sthane sthita. Sthane sthita shruti gatam tanuvan manomi.
Sometimes devotees give this. I remember I was speaking to some devotee and I said, you're already done. You already crossed 50. It's the time, get into full-time devotional service. No, my wife is a devotee. My family is a devotee.
Yeah, so if we actually see the purport of this one, it's like sthane sthita, wherever you are, be situated over there. Don't even try to adjust things. So just engage in Navada Bhakti fully. No? So don't try to adjust things. Even like time taken to adjust is going to a time that is going to be wasted. Don't even waste that much of time, fully get absorbed in devotional service. So that is this one. Like if it is taking time for you to, or if it takes some procedures for you to change some situation in your material life, like no, don't even think of changing it. Wherever you are, just stand there and do devotional service fully. That is Thane Sthita. So anyways, yeah, like it is very, very clear, like no, full execution of devotional service is very essential. No, otherwise it is very difficult. So sthane sthita, if you are going to office, like somebody may say like I don't need to give up my office life. So then sthane sthita, sit in the office and do Shravanam Kirtan, they will only throw you out. So Krishna is telling, there Brahma is telling, right? So it is, Brahma is telling that, don't even try to change the position. Whatever position you want, they will automatically change. You just simply do, Shruti Gatam Tanuvan Manobir. आजकल वो भी करने की जरूरत नहीं, वैसे भी तुरंत थ्रो कर देते रियलाइज सोल. Yeah. So, but this is very, very clear, It is not that like I do partial devotional service and I'll be able to go back to Godhead, so that is not guaranteed. So if we have a plan of going back to Godhead in the next lifetime, then it's very safe, not a problem. So we don't need to worry about retiring and things like that. So net practice, अच्छे से net practice करेंगे इस life में, and next life में we will appear in the match. So that is also okay. So but then if we really want to put an end to all the miseries of material life, or not just that, if we really want to surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord and resume our actual life, so then we need to perform full-time devotional service, right? So that is very essential.
So in one of the sessions we were having a discussion, so one question was raised that the statements like in Padma Purana, Skanda Purana and all, where it says if you see Jagannath on the Rath, doors of Vaikuntha already open. So I'd like to hear from you.
So doors of Vaikuntha is already open. So?
That's a fact. Same thing I also asked.
So, but still I have to walk through the door, right? Doors of Vaikuntha is already open, but still I have to walk through the door. Right? So, even if it says, in one lifetime we will go back to Godhead, that means if I'm not interested, Krishna is going to beat me black and blue, and make me do intense devotional service, then only he can take me back to Godhead. Somehow or other, I have to become intensely absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord. Either willingly or unwillingly, it has to happen. Right? So that has to happen. So without that, how it is possible? It is not possible. Right? So when Krishna does the intravenous, it is going to be really very, this one. He's going to take all the material attachments, like just pull things out, and it's going to be very painful. So we ourselves culture it is nice, So material attachments have gone so much amalgamated into the system actually. When it is taken out, it is going to be painful. So there is no pain, no gain. It must be there. So Vaikuntha doors are open for us. That's okay. So, but still, I have to become qualified. See, there is a door that is opened in like 100 kilometers altitude, up. So still I have to go there now. Like I have to, climb up the altitude. So that is needed. So Krishna will assist. Krishna will, make sure that we, go through that process. So, but then if we can ourselves also, try that, so then the process becomes easy, like that. Yes, ma'am.
It's also said that like in Bhagavatam verse it says that we are responsible towards parents, towards fathers, and those in law.
Yeah.
So like are we on that category that we reject all of those things and follow the duty of point this stage?
So we have to, when net practice becomes nice, so then we will get this one key. Now I'll be able to do this devotional service exclusively, right? So like that. We should not prematurely also do that. So then it becomes a problem. So then we don't do that gato mukundam parhitya kartum. So like we don't surrender fully to the Lord, and at the same time, we have given up our material this ones. So surrender in the beginning stages is at least vidhi purvak, at least by rules and regulations. We should ensure that we are attending Mangalarti, we are chanting our rounds, we are engaged in all missionary activities as advised or according to the plan that is designed by the superiors. So no time is wasted in the material activity. So then we are eligible to give up other rinas that is there. Nayam Kinkarana Rinicha Rajan, right? So the other rinas, we are it will not be taken as we have defaulted in paying the debt. So because we are repaying the original debt, that is, we have to repay all this in the auxiliary debts because we have incurred a more serious debt. That is, we are part and parcel of Krishna and we have neglected to serve Krishna, right? So that is why we have to serve so many other personalities in this world. So, but if we close the original debt, then all others, auxiliary debts get closed. So if we say that I'm part and parcel of Krishna, I don't want to serve Krishna, so then still we have to serve somebody. Like in this material world also, there are so many other personalities we are indebted to, so we have to serve them. So either we have to serve them, but still the original debt will not be closed. But if we close the original debt, so then all other auxiliary debts are waived off. Like that. Yes, ma'am.
If I want to read Bhagavatam, so which one I have to choose? Because 2 hours.
Minimum rounds we have to definitely do. So the Nam Sankirtan or the chanting of the names of the Lord is the Yuga Dharma. So that is the primary Yuga Dharma. So second is study of Srimad Bhagavatam, and rest everything comes after that. So now these two things are the heart of devotional service, and especially Nam Sankirtan can never be given up. So in advanced stages, a devotee may constantly chant, he may not study Bhagavatam or something like that. It's very, very advanced stage. So 24/7 he is just simply chanting. So but then there is no question of simply studying Bhagavatam without chanting. No, that is not this one. So chanting is definitely necessary. Without that, our devotional service will lose its life. Okay. Yes.
Just now you said that we are part and parcel of Krishna, so we are in debt. If you not serve Krishna, then we have to serve. But sir, Prabhuji, what is actual debt? Because what has happened to us that we are being part and parcel of Krishna, that is not our choice. That is done by the will of Krishna only. Then how we are coming in debt?
So because he created us. So he created us and we have a duty towards him. So in that way we can say to parents also, I did not want to be your son. You created me. I did not choose you to be my parents. But still, like, they have given birth, so we have the responsibility towards them. है ना? Logic applies, ना? ठीक है. Yes, Paul.
Why is it that the other living entities, their body
Hmm.
is made in such a way that they are not able to perform devotional service? Because we also say that no material condition can check to perform devotional service.
Mhm. So other living entities where, if we want sense gratification, Prabhupada writes in this purport also, if we want sense gratification, so then we will be awarded other life forms, because sense gratification can be done effectively in those life forms. So like if we have a particular desire, so then according to that a particular life form is given, right? So like it is optimized and fine-tuned for sense gratification. So that is why devotional service becomes difficult to perform in those forms of life. But then we see in the case of Gajendra, where he had a good practice of devotional service, and even in the case of Bharat Maharaj, he had a very good practice of devotional service, even though his apparatus is fine-tuned for sense gratification. Because of his culture of devotional service, they were able to do devotional service even in that body also, right? Possible. So if they are very, very cultured in devotional service, then they can do. But if somebody wants to start practicing devotional service with such a body which is fine-tuned for gratification, it's quite difficult. It's difficult thing to start from there.
So it appears that the purpose of punishment itself fails.
No, it is like you have a desire, you enjoy. What's the problem in that?
He has no choice to do other things.
No, even there also you feed some prasadam to some animal, it gets sukruti. It gets sukruti. We pluck flowers for the Lord, the plants get sukruti. We do sankirtan, so all the plants and animals, they get sukruti. So the devotional service can start from there. Agyata sukruti actually can start, but their serious practice, it is very difficult. So, and that is given in the next lifetime. When they get that, in the next lifetime they will get it. So, as Vidwan Gauranga was telling that, in Vedic times, like, few lifetimes is deal. It just goes. So we only know this one about one lifetime. Right? So a person who wants to be like that, so the problem is, the persons who are like, who want to go back to Godhead in one lifetime have to also execute intense devotional service. The problem is like, I will execute halka pulka devotional service and I want to go back to Godhead in one lifetime, and it is not possible and it's so complex. The whole thing becomes very complicated. So there at least people are very clear, in the Vedic times. साधु थोड़ा इंटेंस भक्ति कर रहा है, लेकिन एक लाइफ में जाना चाहता है, मैं थोड़ा धीरे चलता हूँ.